studio technology and sound mix and all that kind of stuff. Chris was a documentarian as a record producer. His records are recorded very flat, very dry. They're there to capture the performance and the music. Some of his records, the sound is so authentic that it's like being in the room with the guy. And he just wouldn't see himself as a producer, that's like too elevated for him. And he felt the same way about his photographs. He didn't see himself as a photographer. The photographs were strictly utilitarian. They were for album covers and publicity photos. And as a music guy, he knew what to photograph. He knew how to frame it. He knew what to include in the photo. And those photos, you can hear the music when you look at them.
So I want to get to Chris's photography in a moment, but first let's listen to some music. This is blues musician Lightning Hopkins.
Darling, your love just like a hydrant. You know to turn it off and on. You got love just like a hydrant. Yeah, you know that turns it off and on. Darling, you know when I be looking for you, little girl, you done turn it off and gone. It's a shame for you do pull light in that way.
It's good to hear you, Joel, describe his recording style, because now I listen to something like that in a whole different way. But talk a little bit about Lightning Hopkins and his relationship to Chris Strachwitz and Holy Records.
Lightning was the flashpoint that started it all. But he was something of a mysterious figure. This blues music in the 50s was very obscure. It was really rooted in it, deep in the culture. You're not going to run across it on jukeboxes in pizza parlors and stuff like that. It was hidden from view. And there were like a dozen guys around the world that were really interested in this blues music and trying to research it. And Chris received a postcard from Mac McCormick, his associate out of Houston, Texas, in 1959 that said he found Lightning Hopkins. And Chris, as soon as school let out, he was a German teacher in public high school. He went down to Texas and went to see Lightning in a club. And Lightning was on stage singing about how it had been raining that night and he had trouble with his car getting to the club. And he winds up the verse by saying, "And here's the night the man from California came to hear poor Lightning play." And so that just was the road to Damascus moment for Chris. And he went home and he came back the next year after school and started recording our Holy Records.
So Strachwitz took a camera on his travels. Now, you broke down to us how he did